Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. Today we have a special guest, Matt Reynolds. Matt Reynolds is a retired professional baseball player from Tulsa, Oklahoma, actually about 90 miles from where I grew up. I'm excited for him to be on the podcast today. He's going to be sharing some things you need to do from an athlete perspective in order to take your game to the next level. And this is just a real life, personal conversation that Matt and I is going to have. And thank you for your time, Matt. It's awesome that you continue to give back in your community and give back to athletes to definitely, show the interest of letting them know that they can do it too. That's what I love about your personality. And I know you hang around a lot of guys that do the same. Hunter and Bryce and all those guys do anything and everything to help young athletes. And I want to say thank you. But give you a little bit of background on Matt. Matt grew up, like I said, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He attended Bishop Kelly High School in Tulsa. I know he's going to be talking about this here in a few minutes, but he loved basketball actually more than baseball, which is kind of comical that you was a Major League Baseball player, but loved basketball more. But didn't get any offers playing basketball. I think you said D2 is what you
small D1s,
small D1s.
Yeah.
Which is still pretty good for a 6 foot white boy. It's not bad. I didn't get any offers playing basketball. I could promise you that. But ended up getting recruited by University of Arkansas. Went to Arkansas from 2010 to 2012, playing third base mainly, and had a breakout year your junior year, batting over 323, 76 hits in 235 at bats, 20 doubles, 7 home runs, 45 RBIs. And I'll let you talk about it here in a few minutes. You also had an opportunity to play for the USA team and just raked in Cape Cod as well. And went on to get drafted by the New York Mets in 2012, the second round. And also has played some ball in Japan when you was done with the Reds. I know you got drafted by the Mets, and you've also played for Washington Nationals, Kansas City Royals, and then in Japan too. So we're going to get into all of it, Matt, and thank you for being on. I've got a lot of questions that I'm going to ask you that I know if I was an athlete in high school or college thinking, man, what if I could make it to the next level? So that's why I've kind of stored my questions here. But give us a little bit more background on you. I know you got 2 kids, you got a wife, settled here in Salina, Texas now, just north of Prosper. But fill in the gaps here in the intro that maybe you would want to share a little bit more in detail about you and your personal life and this journey that you've been on.
Let's go. What up?
I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I played all the sports. Played football, baseball, basketball, played golf. Golf's my favorite hobby right now that I'm a retired baseball player.
And you're an excellent golfer is what you said.
I used to be a lot better. The kids have made me a little worse.
No, it should be easier because the ball is sitting still.
Yeah, well, tell my wife that I need to get to the driving range a little bit more, and then maybe my game will get a little bit better. But yeah, I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, played all the sports. You can ask anyone that knew me in high school. I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
I would go from a basketball game to a baseball game, back to a basketball game. There's times I was playing 8 games a day. When I wasn't playing games, I was, working out. I was taking lessons, basketball lessons, baseball lessons, football lessons. You name it, I did everything. And I'm thankful for my dad to be able to give me those opportunities to be able to get better and to be able to get to the level that I got to. But yeah, I wanted to play basketball in college. Pretty much up to my junior year, I was mainly focused on playing basketball in college. I was trying to go Division I. Wasn't getting the offers I was, kind of looking for, and kind of looked at my future and was like, you know what, maybe baseball is my best route, because I was getting looks at, Arizona, Arizona State, Arkansas, OU, OSU, like the big schools that you want to play at. And that's when we kind of focused our attention to baseball, started playing in more travel ball tournaments, really started pushing videos out. My mom would send videos of me playing baseball, my stat lines, everything to all these colleges, just so they would know who I was. And got noticed by Arkansas, went on the visit, had no intention of committing at the time. I went there, saw the stadium. Don't know if you know Arkansas baseball, but it's a bomb stadium, best stadium in all of America. Yeah. Hold 12,000 crazy Hog fans. Committed on the spot, and was the best decision I ever made. I loved it there.
Yeah, Woo Pig Sooie.
Woo Pig Sooie,
Oh
baby,
man,
all
I
day.
tell you that chant. I don't know how you listen to
Hey,
that over and over.
We're the only Razorbacks, I'll tell you that. There's no other Razorbacks in America.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can tell when those fans get going, man. It is crazy.
they're wild. In Arkansas, you're the professional athletes. In the whole state of Arkansas, there's no professional team, so they're rooting for the Hogs like you're their Rangers or Cowboys or whatever. So it was a cool feeling, and honestly prepared me a lot for pro ball.
Well, that's one of my first questions I want to ask you is what is the difference between high school, college, and then pro ball? I mean, did anything catch you off guard? I mean, was it a gradual increase in velocity that you was already prepared for, or was it the grind, of college? I know I hear from a lot of college kids that they have a hard time with going from, practicing 3 or 4 hours a day as a high school to pretty much all day long, and then you're working out and all that. Well, what's some of the challenges?
Yeah, I mean, the quality of competition goes up from high school to college, obviously, and then it takes another jump from college to professional. I think my freshman year, the hardest part was balancing school, having a life, and playing baseball at the same time because, we're 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids going to college for the first time, and you finally get this sense of freedom where you're like, oh man, I don't have my parents like telling me what time I need to be home. Right. So that's when it kind of becomes your responsibility to, kind of take care of yourself. So it's like it can get out of hand real quick if you go down the wrong roads, if you're hanging out with the wrong people. That's where you have to have your priorities straight. So being able to, kind of balance that where you have that perspective of you're having fun, but you're also, working towards a goal. And then the competition level, you're obviously facing guys that are, when I was in college, you're facing guys throwing, 92 pretty much every time. You run into the guys throwing upper 90s, but the game has taken a huge jump, I'd say, from when I was there to now. Guys are just, the competition level is getting better and better every year. And then from college to pro ball, it's a whole nother jump. You're facing the whole country. Right. You're facing
not just our country.
Yeah, not just our country. You're facing
the world.
Yeah, Latin players that, the only way to get off the island is to be able to throw hard. So you're facing those guys now, and all these guys are throwing 100. And they don't know where the hell it's going. Right. So those are fun at bats when you're in the lower levels. But yeah, just the competition level always getting better as you move up was a kind of a reality check.
And how about the grind of playing 162 games when you get to the MLB? I mean, what is that? And the reason I asked that question, I've talked to a lot of young athletes lately. I'm helping them with meal plans and workouts and different things. And they're like, man, do I need to work out on game day? Do I need to work out on this day? Yeah. I'm like, man, if you was playing in the pros and didn't work out on your game day, then you're not ever going to get stronger. You're going to get weaker.
The grind of the MLB is real. I mean, the big leagues is tough. Minor leagues might be even tougher because your facilities aren't as nice. Your travel schedules are a lot worse. You're not taking private jets everywhere. You're riding a bus or you're flying commercial in the early hours. So the grind, you have to really understand when your body needs a break and when you need to push your body, because early in the season you feel fresh. First month of April you're feeling good. June, July rolls around, you're done. You're pretty much playing on fumes and just trying to survive and get to the end of the season. So as you gotta make sure you're eating properly, you're maintaining your strength. It's tough. It's nearly impossible to gain strength during the season.
You're not trying to put on size in the season.
No, you're just trying to keep from losing so much weight because you're playing every single day. So it's just it's a mental grind and a physical grind.
We talked about this in the kitchen a few minutes ago, but I know the audience want to know this. Did you ever face moments where you wanted to quit or you doubted yourself?
I mean, there's too many times to count. I can remember, I think it was 2015. I started off pretty bad. I was coming off a career year. I think I hit like 340 in 2014, got all the way to AAA, thought I was going to get called up at the end of 2014, didn't. Had a great camp, thought I had a chance of making the team. I didn't. Go to AAA. First 2 weeks, I'm raking. I'm facing great pitching, hitting it well. Thought I had a chance of getting called up, and that was my first experience of like not getting an opportunity when I thought I deserved one.
Right.
And took a toll on me. I later learned to not worry about that stuff, kind of just let it happen, let my game decide when I get called up. And I went into a tailspin. I struggled for probably a month and a half, 2 months. And I remember calling my parents and I was crying on the phone. So I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like, I'm struggling so bad. I'm in California, hours away from my family. I'm just with my teammates. That's all I got right now. And like, that was the first time I was kind of like, wow, this is a different beast, and I got to prepare my mind to be able to handle this.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because I see a lot of high school kids and college kids struggle with that, and I want your advice. So really what started you in that down spiral was you thought you deserved to go to the next level.
Yeah.
And so you let that thought process, you dwelled on it, and it really kind of just took you to a bad space mentally.
Yeah, and you see it all the time. And I try to whenever I was in AAA towards the end of my career, seeing guys who are raking and they're kind of talking to me saying, man, I feel like I should be in the big leagues right now. The guy ahead of me is hitting 200 up there. Why am I not getting my chance? And you kind of pull them to the side and you're like, hey man, like,
Control what you control.
This can really hurt you if you let this affect you. So like, try to just worry about where you are right now and take control of like what you can control and focus on this and get better every day. And then when you get your opportunity, you're going to be ready.
Yeah, it's great advice, man. Control what you can control. Now we're going to get into mindset, training, and work ethic. I mean, you've already told us about your work ethic, playing all these different sports, which I love kids playing a lot of sports. Do you think that's good for them?
It's the
too?
best thing for them.
Yeah.
My kids will play whatever sports they want. They will not be a single sport athlete. I honestly believe I lost athletic ability when I only played baseball. When I was playing basketball, baseball, and football, man, I could do it all. But when I got to baseball, I was like, man, I don't jump as high anymore. I don't run as fast anymore. So it's like, having that athletic ability and being able to transition into different sports, I think, is a huge benefit.
Mindset, training, and work ethic. The first question, what separated the guys who made it from the ones who didn't? Was it talent? Was it mindset, work ethic, or something else?
I would say it's a combination of everything. I think when you get to pro ball, everyone has talent.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's different degrees of talent. Like you have your, some guys are a little bit talented. Some guys you're like, wow, that dude is different.
Right.
But I've seen a lot of guys that were like, wow, that guy's freaky talented, but never make it because they don't have this. They go out and party. They, don't really work hard in the cage. They've gotten by on their talent, and now they start facing guys who have talent and hard work. And so they kind of get left behind. So I think it's a combination of all those things.
We've answered some of these questions already, so I'm not going to ask you those, but this is something that I believe in big time, and I want your opinion on this. How important was visualization or mental preparation to your game?
I didn't know about visualization until 2016 when I was in the big leagues. We had a mental strength coach. His name was Will, and he was an awesome guy. Worked with Marines, worked with athletes, worked with everybody. And I wasn't playing that much. I think I was hitting like 230, something like that. I was kind of a bench guy. And he came over and started talking to me, and we just kind of had a normal conversation. He brought it to my attention. He was like, hey, right now I'm making like little highlight tapes for people just to like kind of get the good vibes flowing. And he was like, do you want one? And I was like, yeah, it'd be great. And he was like, what kind of music do you like? So I gave him some music. He was like, all right, I'll have it to you. So he sent it to me and started watching it before every game just to, you see yourself have success, and it kind of just like raises your mood, raises your energy, and you're like, oh man, I can do that again. Like I can go out there and do that. So that was the first time it was brought to my attention. And I tried to do it pretty much before every single game to either watch myself having success, imagine myself having success, like who I'm facing that day. What is that guy going to do to me? How is he going to attack? Is he going to throw sinkers in, sliders away? Is he a four-seam ride guy? Like I leaned on that a lot more towards the end of my career than at the beginning, and I wish I knew about it earlier on.
It makes a big difference.
It does.
I mean, you saw the guys up to the plate. If they're sitting there thinking, oh, man, I better not strike out, guess what they do?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the pitchers. I better not walk this guy. Guess what they're going to do?
They're going to walk him every time.
Yep. And mindset is crucial.
100%. And That's honestly, it's probably the most important thing in the game of baseball is having a good mindset.
Yeah, tough sport.
Yeah, very
Tough
tough.
sport. All right, now we're going to talk about nutrition and recovery. How did you approach nutrition, and how did it help you advance through the levels? I mean, and what would you be telling young athletes about eating right and doing these things now?
Yeah, I would say nutrition. I had an idea of what healthy was when I was in college. Did I eat healthy? Looking back, no.
Right.
I didn't have money. I was a college kid trying to survive. I would stop at Zaxby's and get chicken fingers and French fries before practice. Once I got into pro ball and I met my wife, we were already dating before I was in the big leagues and all that, but she does meal planning for people, and so she kind of taught me a lot about it, and my whole nutrition has completely changed. Just learning from people on Instagram as well, like Paul Saladino, done the carnivore diet. I try to cut out processed foods, and I mean, I feel great. I have lost so much body fat from just doing simple things, and I'm eating good food too,
Right.
which is healthy food that comes from animals and the ground, not
Right.
processed chips and just bad food that just sits and eats you up.
Yeah, that's one of the things these high school athletes that I've been working with on their meal plans. I give them the amount of food that they need to eat because they're burning 3,000, 3,500 calories a day. And they're like, man, I'm going to get fat. And I'm like, no, we're just not eating Doritos or drinking Cokes.
Yeah.
We're eating the right food.
It's amazing how much food you actually have to eat to keep up with your calorie count.
What role did recovery, play in your performance? Like sleep, stretching, hydration?
Towards the back end of my career, I kind of got made fun of a lot because I was always the first guy to the field, and I was always in the cold tub doing contrasts. Okay. I lived in the cold and hot tub, sauna. I did all that stuff. Once I had kids, sleep was tough. My wife did the best she could to keep the kids quiet while I was trying to catch up on some sleep, but as you know, kids are loud.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't get as much sleep as I probably could have and should have, but I was getting plenty. But those are things that are very important. I used to track it on my Whoop to see like what kind of recovery I needed, if it was a day that I could kind of push my workouts. So yeah, I tracked pretty much everything that I could.
Yeah, which I think is real important. I bought Pearson. You've worked with Pearson, a Whoop watch.
Yeah.
And every morning he's excited to see how much sleep he gets.
Yeah.
He's monitoring how many calories he burns.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something that I would recommend to any high school athlete.
100%, especially most high school kids are probably trying to put on weight. So if you're trying to put on weight, you have to eat. You have to know you have to know how many calories you're burning every day. So it's a very big investment, and I think it's a very beneficial one.
Well, obviously you made it to the pros, so you did something right. But if you had to go back and fix one thing about your nutrition or recovery back in high school, what would it be?
Oh man, honestly, I wish I knew more. I mean, obviously as a high school kid, your main priority is not really what you're putting in your body. Like I don't remember a day where I was like, oh, am I getting enough protein? Am I eating enough calories?
At the right time.
Like I ate healthy. My parents did a great job. We were eating steak, we were eating fish, chicken. We were eating healthy foods. We weren't,
Going
chowing down on pizza every night. But I just wish I was more informed on what I needed to eat to be able to gain weight. Because I was trying to gain weight. I was trying to get bigger, stronger, faster. So I think I probably could have eaten a little bit more, got more protein. But, I mean, for not knowing exactly what I needed, I felt like I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think it goes back to these high school athletes. They got to track it. They got to figure out how to get 8 and 9 hours of sleep, track it. Are we doing it? What is my maintenance calories? If I want to gain weight, I got to be in a surplus.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I look back and it's like you're in school all day. You really just eat breakfast, you eat lunch, and then you might have a snack before practice, and then you eat dinner. There's no way you're getting enough protein with the amount of calories you're burning as a young kid.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, Pearson, the days he lifts and does 4 hours of baseball practice, he burns 3,500 calories.
Yeah. And I mean, you gotta eat a full cow for that.
So if he wants to gain 1 pound a week, he's got to get 4,000 calories that day. If he wants to gain 2 pounds a week, he's got to get 4,500 calories.
Yeah. It's not just like a 1 day, 1 week deal. It's a lifestyle that you kind of have to kind of have to adapt to and live by.
All right, next question. We're going to talk about life lessons and advice. How did playing in the MLB shape you as a person and beyond the game?
Taught me how to deal with failure. Playing baseball is one of the toughest mental sports that you can play. You're failing more than you succeed. So right off the bat, if you're a great player, you're still failing more than you succeed. So you have to learn how to deal with that, and it just prepares you for life. I mean,
Right.
Life it's a roller coaster.
struggle.
Yeah, you got your ups, your downs. You're grinding to make money for your family. It just helps you stay in a good mindset and try to stay on a flat road and not let the dips and the curves and everything kind of affect your mood.
Yeah, I'll never forget Beckett, my youngest, I told you, is a really good lacrosse player.
Yeah.
And he likes baseball, but he's never been crazy about it. But he was probably an 8th grader. We was up in Oklahoma playing baseball, and he had a rough day.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he didn't look good at the plate, made some errors running, made some errors playing catcher. And on the way home, he said, "Dad, I think I'm going to quit baseball." I said, "Why is that, son?" And he said, "Well, I like lacrosse better. It's more fun."
Yeah.
And I said, "Let me tell you why. Lacrosse, you're out there running and hitting somebody.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
And you don't like baseball today because you failed.
Yeah.
But here's what's important about life. When you get older, mine and your age, the people that succeed are not the ones that love to do fun things.
Yeah.
It's the ones that fail and figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
It's a tough game. Okay, how did you handle pressures and expectations, especially on the big stage?
Honestly, I tried not to even worry about that. I listen to a lot of people talk about being goal oriented. Like before you go into season, they'll write down what they want to do, like their stat lines. I want to hit 20 home runs. I want to have 100 RBIs. I didn't like that because I couldn't control that. It could be one of those years where I'm hitting everything right at people, and I look back and I'm like, man, I felt like I had a great year, but I only hit 250. Like in baseball, there's so many outliers that you can't control. It's just tough luck days.
Yeah.
They always say it cancels out. That's BS. It doesn't cancel out. You don't get as many bloopers as you do lineouts.
Yeah. Ryan O'Hearn had that happen a couple times
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah,
Hit
yeah.
ball
There's-
110 right to somebody.
Yeah, there's just a lot of shit luck in baseball. But yeah, I tried not to worry about goals and expectations. I just worried about showing up every day and having a plan and trusting that plan and that process. Yeah, I just kind of I got set up with a guy named Mike Brumley, R.I.P. He died in a car crash last summer actually. He was a huge help in my swing, and I trust him. I lived by what he was teaching, and I mean it turned me into one of the best years that I've ever had, just because I'd show up to the field. I knew what my process was. I trusted that process, and even when I was struggling, I knew how to fix it because he had taught me the plan for how to fix these things. So I just trusted the process, and go out there and let the results happen.
Yeah, because when you add that pressure on your plate on
Yeah.
top of doing everything else.
Yeah, there's already way too much pressure, and if you're piling on I need to hit a home run here, or I need to get a hit right here because I'm 5 for 50, or I need to get another hit right here to get my average up to 300. That extra pressure affects your performance big time. You want to be as relaxed and under control as you can be at the plate.
Awesome answer. All right, what's your message to the kid who's grinding every day, but he feels like he's overlooked? I mean, you and I talked about that a few minutes ago. That happens all the time.
All the time.
And what advice would you give to that kid? He's like, "Man, Matt, I'm grinding. I'm lifting. I'm eating correctly. Getting no letters from colleges. Not getting a lot of attention. I feel like I'm overlooked." What would you say to him?
Just keep your head down and keep working. Keep fighting for yourself. I mean, that's all you can do. If you don't believe in yourself, then who's going to believe in you? You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in your talents and your abilities, and just trust that what you're doing is the right thing, and then God will take care of the rest.
Awesome advice. And I think a lot of times too, these kids, they are in a state of maturing. I mean, they believe in themselves, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But they still have some maturing to do,
For
whether
sure.
it be at the plate, whether it be physically.
Yeah.
You know, and just keep eating your macros, keep
Yeah.
getting sleep, keep hitting the gym, and keep doing your work
Yeah.
outside of baseball practice.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
your coach at baseball practice, he's only going to do as much as he can do, but it's up to you afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I played baseball for, I mean, since I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and every year until my last year, I'd learn something new. So, like, there shouldn't be a reason why you're not trying to learn new things. You know, adjust to the game. I mean, just a little thing could turn on a light bulb in your head and turn you into a completely different player. So it's like you always want to have that mindset of being receptive of stuff. If it's not for you, get rid of it. That's fine. But at least you're open to learning new things, and it could change your life.
Yeah, keep working, boys. Now we're going to get into the fun questions. This is my favorite part. We got a few more questions here. This is what I call fun, rapid fire.
Okay.
The personal side. Who was the toughest pitcher you ever faced?
All of them.
It's kind of like Deion Sanders said, it's the hardest thing in the world
Oh
to
my
hit baseball,
gosh.
huh?
Every guy is, I mean, there's Kershaw had my number. I got one hit off of him, but last time I faced him, I didn't even make contact. It was one of those days where you go back to the locker and you're just like, man, I just got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
But he was tough for me.
But I think it's okay for these guys to understand that you're going to face pitchers like that, and you just tip your hat to them.
Yeah.
You don't dwell on it.
Yeah, he's good for a reason.
He got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those days where you just go up there and I'm going to compete my ass off, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that, especially in the high school and college level, you experience these guys and it gets you better.
Yeah.
The more times you face better pitching, you get used to it. It's kind of like when we saw the huge velo jump in professional and in MLB. When I first got there, it was like you'd see the guys throwing upper 90s, but you know, there was rare like 100, 102s. Now it's like every game someone's coming out throwing 100 and 102.
Yeah.
The more you face it, it slows down, which is crazy. I mean, it's still hard.
Oh,
It's still
yeah,
very
still
hard.
hard.
But the more I face 95, I'm like, it's slowing down. It's starting to look like 92. It's starting to look like 90. So then it makes the game not easier, but you can adjust to it a little bit easier.
Absolutely. I was telling, Matt in the kitchen that Pearson's got a teammate that's throwing 94, 95 lefty. And my son Pearson's a lefty as well. And I told him, I said, man, that's an awesome opportunity. Never turn down an opportunity to see his pitches. I don't care if he strikes you out every time. Just see it. See it as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It does. The velocity don't slow down, but in your mind, you start believing I can hit this.
Yes.
All I got to do is start early.
Your eyes start to slow it down.
Yeah.
The velocity isn't slowing down. It's just the consistency of seeing that 95-mile-an-hour pitch. Your eyes start to adjust to it and adapt to it, and then that's when you're like, oh man, this doesn't look as hard as it did a week ago.
Now it's a more fun question here for you.
Okay.
Instead of talking about the hard pitchers. What was the most memorable moment that you had in a big league?
There's a couple. So one, I don't even know if you know this. My first taste of the big leagues was playoff baseball. Yeah. I was on the taxi squad in 2015. Hadn't gotten called up yet, ever. We finished this season in AAA. Our farm director calls me and he's like, hey, we're about the team's making the playoffs. We're having a taxi squad down in Florida. He was like, they want you to be on it. If an infielder gets hurt, like, you'll be the guy that goes up. And I was like, all right, cool. In my mind, I'm like, all right,
no one's going to get hurt.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to hang out there for, however long the team's in the playoffs, and I'll go back home. So we're sitting there. We're watching the game in the hotel with all my buddies, and it's when Chase Utley slid into Ruben Tejada's leg and broke it. And I didn't even, when it happened, I kind of just was like, whoa, oh my gosh, I think he might have just broke his leg. And then my buddy, Logan Verrett, he's sitting next to me and he taps me on the shoulder and he goes, dude, I think you're going to the big leagues. Then I sat there and I was like, oh shit.
I am.
We'd had a few beers and we were just enjoying the game. And I was like, oh my gosh. So we watched the rest of the game. I get back to my room and I'm like, I'm panicking. I'm like, what is about to happen? Didn't sleep all night. Got a call at 9 a.m. I forgot exactly who called me. I want to say it was our farm director, but he's like, hey man, you're going to New York. You're on a flight at noon. Get your stuff. Good luck. Fly up there. I think I'm just going to be there like just to kind of be around. End up being on the roster for the NLDS, NLCS, and World Series. And yeah, I got to experience playoff baseball before some people play 10 years in the big leagues and they don't even go to playoffs once. And I got to experience, that's my first day in the big leagues, which I'll never forget. And then another one, I got called up in 2000, I think it was 16. I was in Salt Lake City. They called me up. They're like, you have to be here tomorrow. I take a red eye from Salt Lake City to LA, LA to Boston, Boston to Cincinnati. The game is at noon. I land at, I think, like 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's
no
crazy.
sleep. Go straight to the hotel, throw my bags in. I think I'm just going to be sitting the bench. Go in. I'm in the starting lineup. I'm like, oh, shit. I haven't even gotten a second of sleep. First at bat, hit a home run. Second at bat, hit a I think a RBI single. End up going 3 for 5 on no sleep. After the game, my buddies are like, "Hey, you want to go out to eat?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I'm riding high. I go back to the hotel. I fall asleep for like 15 hours. Don't wake up till the next morning. But yeah, that was a pretty cool memory of no sleep, hitting a home run first at bat.
That's pretty incredible,
Yeah.
man. That's pretty incredible. You remember the pitcher's name?
I think it was Robert Stevenson. The funny thing is, I should have played off no sleep a lot more. I hit a 3-run home run off CC Sabathia in the Subway Series on no sleep as well. I got called up, took a red eye to New York, and played in that game and hit a 3-run homer. So, man,
that goes against what we're
I must be a
but
really
hey,
good player
it
on no
works.
sleep.
That's awesome. Now we're going to ask you, what was your favorite stadium to play in and why?
There's a few. Dodger Stadium's really cool. Just the atmosphere. You got A-list celebrities sitting front row. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yankee Stadium, that was really cool. Playing in the Subway Series there. One of my favorite baseball cards. So Derek Jeter was like my guy growing up. I loved Derek Jeter. I was hoping to get the opportunity to play against him. Never got the chance. But we're playing in the Subway Series, and someone hit a ground ball in the 6 hole, and I'm playing shortstop. And one of my favorite baseball cards of myself is me doing the Jeter jump throw at Yankee Stadium. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool picture. That's one that I definitely like a lot. But yeah, Yankee Stadium's definitely really cool. Yeah, all of them are beautiful, but
Yeah.
those two definitely are the atmospheres are great.
Yeah, the way that every stadium has their fields manicured.
Yeah.
I mean, just the amount of millions of dollars that it
Yeah.
takes. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you go to Petco Park in San Diego, and every time I step on that grass, I want to take out a 9-iron and just rip one.
That's awesome. Yeah, the all of the baseball stadiums are nice, but I agree with you. Yankee Stadium's pretty special.
Yeah.
And Dodgers.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite too as well. Any pregame rituals or weird superstitions that you did?
Oh man, I wouldn't say I was very superstitious, just a little stitious.
I've never met a baseball player that wasn't.
No, I mean, if I had a good game the night before, I would. If I had Chipotle for lunch, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go get Chipotle again.
Right.
But I wasn't like a guy who had to put his left sock on first and then put his right, or pants on and then jersey. You see a lot of that, but I really wasn't that kind of guy. I just kind of had my routine. I'd go into the I'd go get in the hot tub, get dressed, go into the weight room, roll out. Kind of activate like my obliques and core and everything like that. Go hit in the cage and then go out for the game.
Yeah, take care of business.
Yeah.
Take care of business.
That's kind of who I just was.
All right, now we're going to ask you 2 more questions: current and future life. So, what are you focused on now after baseball?
So
Other than 2 kids, it's under 3 and 1.5.
I'm a
and a beautiful wife.
stay-at-home nanny maid. Whatever my kids need, that's kind of what I do right now.
Yeah.
I've been helping out with some youth sports. I've been giving some lessons to some kids just to kind of stay in the game and be around it. I want to give back as much as I can, because I know when I was growing up, I had those big league players that were around, and man, I looked up to those guys. Like they helped me out a lot, especially in my high school days. So I kind of want to have that same effect on the youth, to be around and give pointers and just help them out in any way that I can. And then I'm about to start a job with one of my neighbors in industry that I didn't even know was there. It's solar farm vegetation management.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm about to start that here in a couple weeks. So looking forward to the next chapter, and kind of owning a business and being a normal working human.
But you're going to stay in baseball somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got to feed that side
Yeah.
of my soul.
Yeah. All right. Last question I got for you. How do the lessons you learned in baseball show up in your everyday life?
Everything shows up from in an everyday life aspect. I mean, baseball just it builds character, it builds toughness. Like if you don't have character and toughness and mental strength, like you just don't survive. The game's going to eat you alive. So just having that will prepare you for just life in general. And that's why I think sports is so good. Not just because, you know, everyone loves sports and all that, but it teaches you to be on time. It teaches you to have a good work ethic. Like you need all those things to be able to succeed in life.
Yeah.
And, you know, to start that at a young age, even just like, hey, bud, we got T-ball practice at 5 o'clock. We got to be there on time. We're not going to be late. We're not going to show up at 5:10. Like we got to be there on time. So it kind of builds structure and gets them learning that they need to be on time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just everything sports does is great for everyday life.
That's why I love athletics.
Yeah.
You know, I know you said your wife played soccer at University of Arkansas,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. And I was telling you my niece played soccer at University of Tulsa.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her, and she's had a really good corporate career. Mm-hmm. And she goes, Jeremy, it's crazy. She said, it seems like everyone that advances, you know, in the corporate world have been very good at athletics.
Yeah.
And she's not talking about very good athletics to start saying like, you know, their batting average
Yeah,
or
yeah.
how many goals they scored in soccer. She's talking about they succeeded, you know, and pushed
sure.
themselves
Yeah.
from an athletic standpoint.
You either adapt or die.
Right.
So it's you either learn how to handle all these practices and games and learn how to manage a schedule and while eating healthy and getting sleep, and you learn all these things, and then you get into the business world, and it's kind of the same thing, just different I guess opportunities.
Yeah, I told you, I mentioned a couple times I build meal plans for high school kids, and and I think a lot of times these parents they limit the responsibility that the kid needs to have and all these different things. A lot of these moms will text me and say, I got his meal plan, I'm great, but how's he going to eat during school? And I'm like, he cooks the meals on Sunday. He has it ready. He packs it in his backpack and he takes it.
Yeah.
I mean, but all those little bitty things you learn through athletics when you're pushing yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, my wife gets on me all the time because she's like, just do that for Grady. He's 3.
Yeah.
Just do it for him. I'm like, babe, you don't understand. This is man to man right here. I'm teaching him like life values. Even if he doesn't fully understand, he's gonna at some point understand what I'm talking about. And I want to start this at an early age where he's, you know, a good human being first. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I'm going to ask you to give a hard truth fact. I always ask the guest, you know, whatever you want to deliver to the audience. And I want to say thank you again for giving back to these youth athletes who are going to be watching this podcast, and for the parents too. I've got a lot of people that follow the podcast that are big time trying to understand, you know, the progression from high school to college to the pros. And thank you for being a big supporter of Core Vive as well.
Of course.
Which one's your favorite products?
We love the protein. I mean, we go 2 or 3 bags a week.
Yeah.
I mean, my son has a protein shake every morning. My daughter has a protein shake. They love Core Vive. We have the hydrates, the energies. We're pretty much sponsored by Core Vive.
Yeah, well, so thank you very much, man, for that support. And so what hard truth fact would you like to leave, you know, just trying to collect all of your thoughts, all the things we talked about today, which is mindset, work ethic, nutrition, you know, or it might be something totally different. What could you say looking in that camera to say, guys, go for it, or whatever it is that's on your mind?
Basically, what I would just say is just trust the process. I mean, find a plan that works for you and trust that plan. And if you don't have a plan, talk to people, ask questions, try to learn as much as you possibly can. That's one thing you're never going to regret, is asking too many questions, because you're going to, whether you fail or succeed, you're going to know that you learned as much as you possibly could. So just trust the process, find a plan, and get yourself as best prepared as you can to have success.
Awesome words of wisdom right there from Matt Reynolds, MLB player, and just a phenomenal person. That's the most important thing. Cannot wait to see what you do with your kids. I know you're going to give them opportunities as well, and be an excellent parent like you already are, and a husband. You're a role model, Matt. Thank you for that.
Thank you for having me.
These young athletes. Tell us your Instagram page. I want them to go follow you. That way they can keep up with you.
Yeah, it's Ray_5, REY_5.
Okay. And if you didn't catch that, we'll put that in the podcast notes. Thank you guys for tuning in to Hard Truth Podcast. Go follow Matt. He's an excellent role model for you young athletes, and keep pursuing what it is that you want to accomplish in your life. Have a good day.
Let's go. What up?